Okay, I think we're live. Hey everyone, welcome to Victory Condition Gaming. My name is Doug. Joining me tonight, we have the team behind the Tiny Dungeon 2nd Edition RPG that's currently on Kickstarter. If you haven't checked it out, please take a look at the description. I put the link for the Kickstarter down below. It is really doing quite well for the folks at Gallant Knight Games and Alan Bahr and his team. Tonight, I've got Alan on, I've got Ben Woerner, I've got John Kennedy, and hopefully at some point we'll have Tobie Abad. All of them are working on this book, and I'm really excited to kind of sit down and talk about the Tiny Dungeon and what they're going to be doing and what this book entails and what they've done to make this such a big success. So, guys, I'm going to go right down the line. You guys want to introduce yourself? How about Alan? Why don't you go first, since you're kind of in charge of the Kickstarter?
Alan Bahr. I wrote Tiny Dungeon 2E. I run Gallant Knight Games and the Kickstarter. I make games.
Nice, and you do kickstarting very well. This is what you're. What's Kickstarter? I've lost count at this point.
Seventh. Tobie!
Tobie's on! At least I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is my 7th or 8th or something. I don't remember anymore.
Nice. Very good. Very good. All right. We'll go down. Ben, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ben Woerner. Woerner's Wonderworks, game designer, developer. Worked on Pirate Nations for 7th, and I made my own role-playing game, World of Dew.
Nice.
Worked on Cold Shadows with Alan. That's where we actually met.
Very cool.
I make games. All right.
John?
Hi, I'm John Douglas Kennedy. I'm a game designer living in Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been working on tabletop games for at least 10 years now. I've honestly lost track.
Wow.
But gaming's been one of my biggest loves, and it's just been a treat to get to work with so many wonderful people. And I started working with Alan a couple years ago, and I've worked with the rest of the guys on numerous other projects. I guess because it's a trend, I write.
Okay, that seems to be a trend on this round table. And then last but certainly not least, I have Tobie Abad. Tobie, welcome to the show. Yeah, Tobie's actually in the future. So Tobie's in the Philippines. Tobie is actually 12 hours ahead of us, so I can't thank him enough for doing this.
Tobie, tell me tomorrow is better than today.
See, it's 9 a.m.
Oh, my word. Tobie, thank you so much for coming on and taking time. How are you doing tonight? You want to introduce yourself?
Tobie Abad from the Philippines. I'm the guy behind Tag Sessions, small games and lots of freelance work, but I'm happy to be part of the industry.
Nice. Well, we're happy to finally have you on the channel. I've tried to get you on. We've mentioned having you on a couple times, and finally it's happening. It's a momentous occasion for the channel. All right, so let's talk about Tiny Dungeon. Alan, you want to tell folks what Tiny Dungeon actually is?
Tiny Dungeon is a new transmedia experience that is exemplified through synergy, and actually it's a role-playing game. It's minimalist, so it really strips out. The core rules really come down to, I can get them on one page, but if I pad in all the extra nice fluffy words that you're kind of expected to have, it's like 30 pages.
Nice. Yep.
So it's a fantasy, sort of an homage to D&D and the dungeon crawler genre of fantasy role-playing games in a nice little minimalist package.
Very good. And the mechanics, it uses D6s?
Yeah, it uses the Tiny D6 mechanics, which is similar, or almost identical to Tiny Frontiers and Tiny Frontiers Mecha and Monsters, which I've been on here about before.
You have been? A couple times?
And both those PDFs are only $5 on DriveThruRPG, so feel free to go buy them if you want to experience the system, as opposed to having me just blow hot air at you.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. So let's talk a little bit about the differences. This is actually the 2nd edition. Yep. The 1st edition was put out by a different company, though, right?
Yeah. So Tiny Dungeon was originally put out by Smoking Salamander Games, and I licensed it to make Tiny Frontiers a year and a half ago, and I like the rule set so much I bought it from them.
Nice.
So now we own Tiny D6 and the future of that rule set, and Tiny Dungeon 2e is sort of my soft relaunch of the Gallant Knight Games Tiny D6 brand. We've upgraded sort of the whole presentation and package.
Okay.
Like the future Tiny D6 games and the past ones will be revamped eventually to match our new format and style of presentation that we have for Tiny D6.
Nice. Yeah, the art on this project is really, really top notch, and
Well,
it's nice to see.
I will claim all credit for that, even
Yeah,
though
no, it's not that.
Give somebody a lot of money for it.
that cover art, we were commenting earlier. Michael did a great job on that cover. It really kind of just, I think, sets the tone for the book. I think,
yes, Michael Leavenworth. He crushed it, and he will be selling prints of it if you like it.
Nice. It's not going to be a Kickstarter add-on.
No. I've had to ship poster tubes before, and I will never do that again.
Yeah, no, it's not.
That is somebody else's
cost effective. So let's talk a little bit about what inspired you to do a second edition. Like, what you made some changes to the game. If folks that come on or that might have played Tiny Dungeon originally.
Yeah, so there's an update in the Kickstarter, update 18, that talks about the differences between the rule sets. If you played the first one and you're curious, that's the update to go read. It's open to the public. You can just go take a look. So it would take me the whole hour to rehash all the various differences. So we've added some more traits. We've added some new heritages. We've cleaned up a lot of the text, put it through a new edit to bring it up to my standards.
Nice.
And I'm not attempting to diminish the original game, but it was definitely my first game. Smoking Salamanders' first game was Tiny Dungeon. I look at my first game, which was Tiny Frontiers, and I go, oh God, I could do so much better a year later.
Sure, I mean anybody can.
Right, right.
The nature of the game.
And so I'm bringing it up to new standards with a bigger budget. Bigger, more art. Adding some of the Gallant Knight game touches that we do on the Tiny D6 line, the micro settings. Those are all new. That's our thing. Some of the stretch goals, like a full campaign.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let's talk about.
So there's a lot.
So you've done in the light 334 says the polar bear on the cover is awesome, and I'm going to have to agree with that statement.
Yeah, that's a little self-indulgent. Polar bears are my favorite animal, and nobody ever lets me play a polar bear in role-playing games. So I made a role-playing game where I can play a stupid polar bear.
Hey, that's all right.
Because as a publisher, I get to do what I want. So you know what? There's a polar bear.
Absolutely. So it's this campaign has knocked off quite a few different stretch goals. The original stretch goals have been micro settings, which is a Tiny Dungeon kind of thing.
It's a Tiny D6 thing. Yep.
Yeah, our Tiny D6 thing. Let's talk about why don't you talk about what micro settings, if folks aren't familiar with what micro settings are, and then we'll just go down the line and everybody can kind of tell viewers what their micro setting is going to be, because that's kind of what each of these authors and game designers are bringing to the table with this project.
For sure. So micro settings are 1,500 word high-level settings designed to jumpstart a campaign for the GM, but they're not all inclusive. Like they're broad ideas. They're settings based on these overarching themes and plots, not nitty-gritty details like you would get in a lot of other RPGs.
Sure.
They're very streamlined, so you can plug them into your campaign and kind of have a launching pad, and then make them your own as you play.
Sure. No, I love how they're like kind of just like seeds of ideas that and they're so much more brilliant than anything that I could come up with, and it's nice.
They're functionally flash fiction for RPGs.
Sure.
That's the best way to describe it. It's flash fiction for role playing games.
Nice. Now, Ben, your micro setting. You want to talk a little bit about it? What your micro setting entails?
Sure. Yeah, it's called Swordsman of Wing. It's basically high flying wuxia setting. So the characters one of the things that always struck me about kung fu action theater type stuff when I was a kid was that, and also like the books and things that you can read, was that it was always like a group of martial artists that got together and went and like fixed some problem, which when I was role playing as a kid, I was like, that's the same thing. And so I was always excited about being able to play something like that. And I've never really found something totally that's what I want to do. But so in this, it gave me opportunity to kind of create my own setting for that. And the rules for Tiny Dungeon already have an optional rule in the back called Martial Disciplines, which has all these different techniques, which is really awesome. And basically, it's going to be, you know, the same sort of thing of the different types of adventurers with all their different techniques. You know, the wood technique, the soaring heron technique, raging dragon, that sort of stuff. And they're going to be going on adventures fighting against a corrupt empire. So, yeah.
That sounds very awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. John, you want to what was your you want to tell folks about a little bit about your microsetting?
My microsetting is called The Vanished, and it takes place in a world where one day all the people of this fantasy world wake up and half the population is gone. And it's mothers, wives, soldiers, knights, kings. It's a lot of the critical people in society and a lot of other ones as well. At the same time, in the woods across the kingdom, these strange totems go up in the forests, and these creatures crawl about, talking about old oaths that have been broken and that they've come for what is due to them. And so it's adventuring in a world where essentially it's a world of second chances, where you know how you've always had that guy in your class where he was always better than you?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he was the one who went on and he became, like, you know, the big tough soldier who, you know, fought for your freedoms while you got the job at Denny's. Well, he's gone. The next 10 guys after him are also gone. Okay. You've now got to help rebuild the fantasy society. You've got to help rebuild society, while at the same time, these strange creatures are now calling out saying that you owe them something. And now the land has to rebuild itself while it's fending off this threat. Wow. So it's simultaneously like it's a your good old fashioned Knights and Castles game. Sure. But at the same time, people are now in new roles where now the town's dog catcher could be its greatest champion. Okay,
I like it. Kind of have that underdog aspect of it, like people kind of what's becoming something more than they thought they were capable of. That's nice. Mm-hmm. I like it. Tobie, your microsetting was one of the first to get unlocked as well. What's your microsetting all about?
So it's called Legacy, and I guess the inspirations were drawn from Shadow of the Colossus. It's an old PlayStation game, and Pendragon. Okay. I wanted the idea of some sort of war between giants and people, and you tend to die, so you tend to inherit the things that your forefathers and parents used in the war before you. So it's kind of gritty, dark, but high fantasy in some ways. Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that you'll fight giants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love Very that game.
Cool. So each of these micro settings are what, 3 or 4 pages? Is that right? Is that what you guys have pretty much come up with? Is that what?
Yeah, they come out to about 6 pages.
What's that? I think we're allowed 6.
6 pages?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
It all comes to the dreaded layout monster, who is vicious, but at the same time very frugal with the space that we're allotted. So
nice. I like that.
That's why you'll notice all the micro settings end mid-sentence. Like, we're like, oh, we're out of page, just bam, done.
I think I did that once where I almost turned something into Alan, and it's like, hey, Alan, do you mind if I go like 500 words over? And his response was, what? Why? Why would you? Why?
That's a third. Why do you need a third more?
That's awesome.
I got excited.
That's good. Hey, I love it when people just like want to get into a setting. That's great. So Alan, that's just, these are only like a handful of, or just a few of the people that you have on board with this. Who else do you have doing micro settings? It's got to be such a crazy task to try to like get everybody on board and everybody like I mean, that's
It's not at all. It's probably the easiest part.
because these are all good people.
Well, that and I pay them a lot of money so they don't make my life a problem.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
We
that
tried
helps.
It's sort of like extortion, and they know it. So they're always like, "Hey." Yeah, there's a ton, and I'm super excited. We have a good spread,
Nice. Now,
and everybody will turn in awesome stuff on time, and I'm excited to have that happen
absolutely.
on time.
Because you kind of have this reputation of having, you know, Kickstarters.
Yes, and the freelancer who cost me that will earn my ire.
We'll have to have them on the channel, and they'll have to give a public apology for ruining that.
The things I will say to them cannot be.
That's when Alan gets brought on like halfway during it. Be like, "Whoa! If there's anything you would say to Alan right now,
We have a
he's here, what would
surprise
you say?"
guest behind this curtain.
We call that the Steve Kenson effect, right, Alan?
Oh, you're a monster. That was awful.
That was awesome. Looks like we have quite a few comments that are in favor of polar bears on in RPGs, which is great.
As there should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And then In the Light says, I like the micro settings idea. Is a great way to jumpstart imagination and let people make the setting their own. And yeah, I like that. I like that too. That was one of the first things that when I jumped on board with Mechas and Monsters, I really liked the idea of having those micro settings. And so let's see what else. What else can we talk about? Let's talk about. How big is the book going to be at this point, Alan? It looks like you've unlocked like a ton of content on this project.
That depends on that dreaded layout monster, I suppose.
Okay.
It's going to be the biggest book by a margin.
Nice. That's great.
So you assume each micro setting. So the core rules are 40 pages after all the optional rules and stuff we have, right?
Right.
And then we have 17 micro settings at 6 pages apiece. And it's actually probably closer to 18, 20 micro settings. So that's another 120 pages. We're at 160.
Right,
and then we have to put all the art and graphic design in.
Sure.
Right. And so, we're probably going to push 200 pages by the end. It'll be
Wow.
and Mechas and Monsters was our biggest, and that was 160. So it'll be an order larger than the previous books.
That's great. Congratulations. That's
Not,
really
not so
very
tiny
cool.
anymore.
No,
it
that's good.
has spiraled a little bit.
That's great. So not only have you unlocked the micro settings, but you've also unlocked a lot of things that you kind of want to do with the future of Tiny Dungeon and maybe the Tiny D6 line. You want to talk about the other things that you've unlocked? You've unlocked, like you said, a campaign. This is the first time I've ever seen a Tiny D6 campaign. Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah. So speaking of editing word count and stuff, Robert Denton was going to do a micro setting, and then he sent me like 40 pages of stuff.
Okay.
And I was like, I can't turn 40 pages into 6, Robert. That's not. No man alive could accomplish that task. And he's like, well, I really want to see this come out. And I'm like, why don't we just make it a setting? We'll just do a separate book later, I guess, or something. I don't really know.
So
and then I was like, I'm out of stretch goals. Crap. Robert, congratulations. The campaign book.
See, so maybe John just needs to write, instead of 5 more pages, he just needs to write another, couple 20, 30, and he can have his own campaign book too.
Well,
It's
that
true,
sounds great because it's sort of like yeah, I can do that. At the same time, it's also like, oh no, what if it's not good?
No, I'm sure it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But so all the backers are going to get that campaign setting in a PDF.
Yes, everybody will get the PDF, and we will make a print available to them.
I was gonna ask if there was gonna be a print option as well.
Yes, when I have time to sit down and figure out what that looks like and what it will cost.
Sure. No, I don't expect you to quote figures. On the fly.
That's why I'm just giving the PDF away.
You also have an app. Tell us a little bit about this app. I didn't realize that Gallant Knight Games has a tech division. So what?
We have all the divisions. We just don't talk about them publicly.
Nice. Okay.
We even have a ninja division.
Nice.
I say that, and now I'm not going to wake up tomorrow. But
Hey.
So The goal of Tiny Dungeon is really for short campaigns or pickup games or cons, right? Taking it to places like conventions to play, right?
Right.
And making it portable is the key goal. More than anything, if the game is not portable, people will not take it to a con. So all of these later stretch goals, our Wave 2 stretch goals, are actually designed to make it so you don't have to take the game at all. You just have to take dice and the PDF, and then you can play.
Okay.
And so this app, now we literally have had a discussion where I sent the guy a contract, and it's Steve Radaba. Radaba, is that how you say it?
Yeah, Radaba.
Okay. Steve Radaba, who's fantastic. He's also doing a micro setting.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's pretty cool.
And it will. Great guy, and he does great work, and he loves turning game stuff into apps. So if you need a game thing into an app, you should go talk to Steve.
All right, good to know.
But basically, you'll put in the number of players, and you'll hit a button, and it will generate a room. It will tell you what the room looks like. It will tell you how many monsters are in the room, and that's it.
Okay.
And then when they go to the next room, you can do it again. And you just kind of keep touching that big button, and it will keep giving you rooms in the dungeon.
No, I like it. Simple, but it
So,
works.
Yeah, it is not going to be fancy, but it will make it so you can run Tiny Dungeon out of your smartphone.
Very cool.
And we might get fancy. We're talking about some stuff. Maybe we'll try to include monster stats or whatnot. I haven't decided what like the overall goals are.
Okay.
But at its core and what we promise, it will be a random dungeon room generation app.
Okay. No, it definitely will come in handy.
And it will be free to all backers, and we'll probably sell it for like $1 or $2 after that. So
Was it? You said $30 or something? Your audio cut out right when you were giving a price.
Oh, it will be free to backers, and we'll probably sell it for a few dollars after that.
Oh, nice. Okay. No, that's good.
So keep it cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. And then so we've unlocked a couple like decks of monsters. Like these are all just new things that you haven't done on previous campaigns. So it's really nice to see some new stuff come out with this Tiny Dungeon.
Yeah, well, nobody's given me this much money before to do new stuff with, so that makes it a lot easier.
That's
But
good.
yeah, so we have the bestiary deck, which will, again, portability. You take this deck, and it will have a picture of a monster, and then the stats on the other side. And you can run the monster off of that at a con. You don't need the book with the bestiary anymore.
And the deck actually has art, because a lot of you have a lot of RPG decks. They just pretty much just have the stats and no art, because the art is a big part of the cost. Your deck actually has art.
It'll yeah, and in order to keep the cost reasonable, we're reusing the same art that's in the book. We're not going out and getting all new art when we already have art for skeletons, right? Like,
okay, yep, that makes sense.
It'd be silly to pay for it twice when a skeleton looks like a skeleton.
Sure.
So yeah, it'll be the same stuff that you have in the bestiary, same art, same stats. It'll just be in a card format to be transportable.
Nice. Okay.
And it's easy to show your players, right? Like as a GM, when I hold up the book, I'm like, all right, guys, I'm holding the book up. It's this monster right here in the middle of the book, right? But now I can just hold up the card, say, pass it around. Don't look at the back.
Okay. Sure. No, that makes sense. Now you also have a Braille option, or you is that you have you were approached by someone to put Tiny Dungeon in Braille form, which was remarkable. I think it's great.
Yeah. So Gallant Knight Games, we actually have some of our extended family are sight impaired. So when they approached us with that, it was kind of a no-brainer.
Sure.
And they're doing a test run for free. They're gonna send it to us. We're gonna pass it around, make sure it meets our standards. But I'm very optimistic it'll be great.
That's great. That's
which makes us, I think, the second or third RPG to ever be Braille. There are not many.
That's very cool. So you got that. You got the Braille. You got the decks. You also unlocked a subscription service.
Yes.
What's that all about?
So one of the things I'm big on is giving people. How am I going to try to say this right? I love fan content, but at the same time, as a publisher, I sort of hate fan content.
Okay.
because fan content is awesome and the community engagement you get from it is super fantastic. Like it's worth its weight in gold. The problem with fan content is if a fan makes something like you're about to release, now you've got a problem where it looks like you stole your fans' ideas.
Sure,
right?
sure.
Theoretically, the optics aren't great. So there's always that. That's scary for a publisher, especially a small publisher, where we thrive on our core community being accessible. The idea of something coming up that would alienate part of that community is not awesome.
Sure.
And so the subscription service will actually be an open call to anybody who wants to submit, period. Be they a fan, be they an RPG industry professional, somebody who just wants to start trying their hand at it, whatever. They can submit stuff, and they can play. And if we accept it, we'll pay them pro rate, our usual 10 cents a word rate.
Nice.
Which is decently good for the RPG industry. And oh, good, all my freelancers are nodding yes.
Yep, no, that's good. Yeah, I know. I noticed that too. I'm seeing all the. Like, yep, nope, that's good. That's.
They'll get paid the same rate everybody gets paid at Gallant Knight Games, which is 10 cents a word, and we'll publish it. Professional layout, professional art, everything. It'll be a real It's not just a fan thing. It'll be an actual Gallant Knight Games endorsed part of the content canon of the game, so to speak.
Nice.
And we just want to open it up to everybody who's given us so much. We want to give back by giving them a chance to be part of the greater community, in a sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was running out of stretch goal ideas, and it sounded really cool, so I did it.
Yeah, it's very cool. Any of you guys have any ideas in the back of your mind as to what you'd like to see? Maybe would you? Are you thinking of maybe contributing to this later on down the road?
Possibly. I have a couple ideas. But nothing I'm going to share at the moment.
Yeah.
But,
no, I don't want to.
Well, I'll share what Ben's not wanting to share. Ben is working on merchandise for a decorative mug chain for Tiny Dungeons. There's always a lot of ideas that get left over in your head.
Sure.
And so for me, part of me would always want to expand on stuff that I couldn't expand on in the book, if it was possible, of course.
And when I say submission, somebody can submit, we want to create 6 new races. We want to, submit a dungeon. We want to submit a new micro set. We want to submit an alternate magic system. They can submit whatever they want, and if we like it, we'll pay them and we'll publish it.
Okay.
There are no strictures. Now, obviously, if they submit me rules for BDSM and Tiny Dungeon, that's not going to happen. I'll be like, that's not really the market we're publishing to. Sorry, guys.
Sure.
But
It wouldn't be
I could have come up with a good example off the top of my head, and that's where we landed, apparently. Sorry.
Yeah,
guys.
no, we totally took it to a different level.
Yeah, but you see my point. Obviously, within the level of what we need, what we can and should support, we will.
Sure.
But yeah, and the goal is we'll release them as PDF a month.
Nice.
And then at the end of the year, we will release the collected PDFs for that year as a print omnibus, and then we'll do it again for the next year. And so every year there will be this is the 2018 Tiny Dungeon.
Wow, that's a really cool idea, Alan.
I wish it was original, but it is something I stole.
Okay. Oh.
Hey. Puppies are home.
Oh, nice. So let's. So we've got this. Oh, there we go. That's the real reason why I bring Alan on. It's just to see his dogs. Nice. Now, Alan, you just got a second dog, right?
Yeah, that was our second
nice.
dog. That's Ella. So
very cool. So let's talk about the pledge levels. What's the least expensive option that if people want to back on this project? What's the least they can do and get everything they need?
$13 PDF.
Nice.
And you get all the PDF stuff,
very cool.
which everything is coming in PDF. So there is nothing you will not get except for the dice and the GM screen and stuff.
Okay. And then the next level up is a softcover book. It's $25.
Yep, softcover book, 3 dice, GM screen, and then all the PDFs.
And I got to tell you, and the one thing I really like about the Tiny Dungeon or the Tiny D6 line is that everything's really affordable. You've got it seems to be it's accessible, it's affordable, and that's what really I think a lot of people like you know, when they're coming, when they take a look at your projects, I think that's one main draw is the price point on your projects, Alan.
Well, thank you. I definitely feel like gaming should be accessible to everybody who wants to be involved in it. So
sure. So then the $25 option is the dice, the soft cover. Does that come with dice and a GM screen as well?
Yeah, the $25 screen, PDF, and the book.
Wow, for $25, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then for if folks want, which is what I do, and because I have OCD and because I want a hardcover book, a softcover book, and everything, there's a $65 option.
Yep, that's the deluxe. You get the same book, but it's a faux leather hardcover, and it looks really nice.
Yeah.
But the contents are all the same, obviously. But then you get a normal soft cover to use as your table copy, so you can have your collector's edition on the shelf, and you don't have to. You can just show it off and then put it back.
So with the
and then you can play with your soft cover.
So the hardcover does that have the cover art at all in the book? Is that on the inside?
Oh, it probably won't.
What?
Well, that's why you get a soft cover.
Well, yeah, but it's such an awesome piece of art.
Well, the problem is, so the book's black and white on the inside.
Right.
So if I put that cover on the inside, I have to put it on the inside of all my books, including the soft covers.
Yeah.
Because I use the same interior, and then that makes all my books go from black and white to color for one page.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll give out a wallpaper or something.
There you go. There you go.
Yes, it will not have the cover. But that wasn't a problem for Mecha and Monsters. You didn't care.
Oh, that's true. It is, wasn't it?
Yeah. See, there you go.
Now it's gonna bug me when I look at Mecha Monsters. I'm gonna be like, ah.
Yeah, that's fair. It's gonna bug me now that you brought this up.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Alan. It's all your fault.
But yeah, so you get the hardcover, you get the soft cover, you get the GM screen, you get the dice, you get all the digital stuff, and then you get a custom storage bag to hold it all in.
The bag's awesome. You said you have somebody locally that makes those, right?
Yes, I do. And actually, the bag for this one is right here next to me. Hang on. I used the prototype bag to. Nope, that's not the right prototype bag. Where is it? That's the one for tiny wastelands. Oh, there it is. Hang on.
So, all the rest of you guys, how many projects have you worked with Alan
on? John, you've probably worked on them more than anyone, right?
About 3 or 4 at this point.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
Nice. What's that been like? It's kind of nice to see Alan grow as like as his brand and his company's kind of grown over the last. It seems it's like at least over a year, at least since I've known him. He's really kind of, the amount of growth I've seen just personally on the Kickstarter projects and everything has like crazy amount of growth, which is awesome. What's it like working with somebody like that you see just kind of blow up like that?
If you need, I can walk away again.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go. See you later, Alan. You've had your time. We're talking to the guys now.
Well, as his secret rival and nemesis, I've learned a lot about the weaknesses of his organization, and I'm fully expect that when we strike, we will just decapitate and destroy him utterly. Oh, Alan, hey,
hey, Alan,
buddy. No, so the great thing about working with Alan is that Alan is kind of like working with. I'm trying to figure out a good word to describe it. It's kind of like with working with like a big like fireball, where there's so many ideas coming out of him at the same time. And you can tell really quickly when Alan just goes, okay, I have an idea. It's going to be this fantasy kingdom, and there's pipes, and you play 2 plumbers, and there's all these mushroom guys. Wait, that's Mario. Okay, moving on. But then, he has so much creativity, just literally, and I'm not trying to, inflate his ego.
No,
but
we don't need that.
So much creativity going on right now that just, he'll take ideas and just boom, he'll find out where the weaknesses are, but where the strengths are.
That's awesome.
Only once I can think of has he ever said to me, "No, that doesn't sound like a good idea." Usually, what Alan says is, "No, that's a good idea. Have you thought about this? Have you tried doing this part?" And as I think Ben and Tobie will probably attest when they're with next, it's just he's simultaneously helpful and critical.
Okay.
Where he's sort of no, let's make this better by actually making it better. And so working with Alan has just been a treat, and seeing his growth over the last couple of years, where he's always in motion. I've never seen him get knocked down for long.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've just I don't see the professional side of him. I see the talking on Facebook and doing these streams, and I've always said that if Alan lived closer, he'd be the guy that I'd like want to hang out with, and just because he has that energy that and he's that idea guy. He's kind of like I have ideas as well that keep me up till like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I think Alan probably is the same way. And people like us, we kind of like gravitate towards each other because we feed off of that energy, and so that's kind of how I feel about I kind of wish that like I said, I wish Alan kind of lived closer because. I can kind of relate to getting caught up in feeding off of that, and I like that about him a lot. Well, Ben, what are your thoughts? How many projects have you worked with Gallant Knight Games on?
I've worked on Tiny Galaxies, Tiny Frontiers. Sorry,
Tiny Frontiers.
And then today, I just noticed on my Facebook. Today is the anniversary of announcing Cold Shadows. So I worked on Cold Shadows with Alan. That's actually how we met originally. I was at Gen Con, and there was this guy that was like, "Hey, I want to meet with you. I want to talk to you about
World of Doom."
I'm sorry, what was that? I'm losing connection.
Alan, you're back? Okay.
I didn't hear what Alan said. Alan?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Oh. Okay, hey. What were you saying about?
Can you hear me?
We lost the connection.
I don't know. I think he keeps knocking out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I worked with Alan on Cold Shadows.
And that was a big campaign for you guys too.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. It's like a 1960s sort of, I should say, Cold War era spy role-playing game hack of Blood and Honor and World of Dew. World of Dew is the first role-playing game I did.
Nice.
And that was my Samurai Noir role-playing game. And actually, John and Tobie both worked on World of Dew with me. That was actually the first time I worked on that with both of them. So that was pretty awesome. Yeah, so that's when I first started working with Alan, and since then we've done a bunch of different things.
Nice.
That we're working on now. Haven't come out yet, but some stuff I'm pretty excited about. So yeah, I'm just gonna echo John in saying, like you kind of have this kind of crazy idea, and you say, "Hey, Alan, what do you think of this?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is amazing. Do this," and it's really encouraging.
That's kind of a good. That's a good trait of a leader, to be honest with you, where somebody just kind of gives you encouragement, but then also kind of says, "Hey, have you thought about this?" and maybe even tweaking it a little bit more for you, instead of just saying, "No, I don't think you should do this. You should just stick." That's a good management style and a good leadership style of how to work with people, and so. Yeah, this says a lot about how Alan must work on, professionally, which is good.
Yeah.
Tobie, you've worked with Alan quite a few times, from what I can remember.
Well, Cold Shadows was the start.
Correct.
There was Tiny Wastelands, but that kind of. Well, I'll let Alan explain that. And this is the next one, so. Lots of potential. There's been a lot of informal exchange of ideas as well, and he's extremely passionate. He's tremendously humble, and he's one of the best enablers I've had in pushing myself as well to make more stuff.
Nice.
He's an awesome friend.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. It's always good to have someone that kind of helps you along and helps you hone your craft, because sometimes. I know, just doing this whole social media thing, it's kind of hard. You kind of feel like overwhelmed, and you just don't. You're trying to get things done, and it just doesn't seem to work. And so I'm sure to have someone there to just kind of say, "Hey, you're doing a good job," or "Hey, it goes a long way."
And especially when you're like starting out, there's that fear of people will like see you as just some sort of hack who's, you're ripping off this game or that game. So it really helps to have someone who's telling you, no, keep going. You have great ideas. They're pretty different, or they're pretty new.
Nice.
Which is funny because today is the anniversary when we first spoke on Facebook. So yeah, and that was because of Cold Shadows.
Yes.
Very cool.
Tobie crushed the Cold Shadows assignment we gave him.
That's awesome.
Went above and beyond.
Now, Tobie's the one that made Cold Shadows what, GM-less or something?
One player, one GM, player versus player, or GM-less, right?
The Martini and the Solitaire,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So
Very cool.
One moment, I'll just say bye to Rocky. He's heading to work.
Sure.
Come here. Say hi. Say hi. Say
Hey, Rocky.
Hey, Rocky.
Hey, Rocky.
Hey, Rocky.
yeah. Okay. Sorry about that.
No, hey, you know what? That's fine. Alan, Tobie just mentioned it, and I know that I've had a few people message me about it because of the content that we made for the channel. Tiny Wastelands.
Yes.
What are you at liberty to say what the status is of that project?
Yeah. So, and then I'll answer in the lights question after that.
Yeah, I like that question. That's a good question.
Tiny Wastelands will be coming out. Originally launched, we were various funding and things like that, where we could go a little more ambitious. And after Stuart passed, the situation changed, and we've had to rescale our plans. And in the process of rescaling, the rescaling just took long enough that we're like, well, Tiny Dungeon's ready to go. Let's just get it out. And we'll get to Tiny Wastelands next. Like, we'll just have to bump it down the release schedule till it's ready, basically. It's still going to come out. It's still going to get done. I actually sent, right before we launched Tiny Dungeon, I sent the list of like 30 art pieces off to the artist and said, I need art. Get it going. So it will happen. It will happen soon. It's just a matter of when in the schedule it will fit and what's appropriate for it. So,
Sure.
But no, it will be back, and you will be able to Mad Max around in minimalist rules.
Very cool.
It better be.
Yeah.
Right? An awesome rule set.
So let's see. In the Light 334 has a question that says, any plans for a website with forums or something similar so the community can come together to discuss various games you have released, share ideas, etc.?
Yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer, yes, eventually.
Yeah. Now, there is a Facebook, I will mention that there is a Facebook group that that folks can join in the meantime. What's called Into the Black.
Yes. It's a fairly active group, and I'm pretty involved in that.
Yeah, there's quite a few people that post on that group.
We are the Gallant Knight Games website. Sort of when we got bought by Nocturnal last year in December, we kept the website up for the time being, but we weren't doing anything with it because we were an imprint. And since we've split off again, it hasn't been the priority of where the time and the money is going. Right, the time and the money is going to get the games out the door.
Sure. Oh.
But in the near future, I would say a new website probably in the next 2 months. Forums hopefully by the end of the year.
Nice. Okay. That's
we'll
great.
see.
Let's talk about. Let's go back to the Tiny Dungeon for right now. Do you have any? What's like the big plan? The big, like, now that you've run out of stretch goals. What is the wildest idea that you have? Because I know you got wild ideas. What's the wildest idea that you have that you'd like to see happen with Tiny Dungeon?
I turn a huge profit and buy a house.
All right. So let's all make that happen,
if
folks.
we are being totally honest, that is.
Well,
no, so we have stretch goals every 5,000 up through 50,000. But after 50,000, we're stopping. Like, that's it. I know I am smart enough to know when I am overloading the team and what I can do.
Okay.
And that is that line for me. That is where I'm done.
Okay.
So at 50,000, we will say thanks for the awesome support. Sorry that we're not giving you more, but you got a lot of stuff. So I hope you're happy.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I just didn't know if like you had, you know.
Now, if we raise like 100,000, I'll do something, right? But like,
Okay, that's cool.
yeah,
That's cool.
no, I don't have any major plans. Mostly just keep it simple enough that I can get it out on time, and then make sure people get their money's worth.
Very cool. Very cool. So, Tiny Wastelands is probably the next project later on down the road. Is that right? No? No, he's shaking his head no. See, of course. Look at that. I should have known.
Tiny Wastelands will be the next Tiny D6 project.
Okay, but you've got another project in the works?
There will be one in between.
Okay. We're not going to say what that is?
I can't talk about that right now.
All right, we're not talking about that.
It will be on Kickstarter in November.
Nice. Great.
So.
There goes my kid's Christmas money. Thanks a lot, Alan.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a jerk.
Ben, what
you can get them a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
That'll come long after Christmas.
Ben, what do you got going on? What's your next endeavor? We'll go down because you know we want to give these guys a little bit of opportunity to kind of say what they've got going on. It's not the Alan show as much as no, I'm just kidding. Ben, what else you got going on?
There's a bunch of different things I'm working on right now. Kind of all over the place. The first thing that's probably going to hit press is a project I'm working on called Embers, which is with Andreas Walters and a number of other people. And it's a Dark Souls style like setting book. So if you like Freeport or Ravenloft type things, it's like that. I helped him with a bunch of the development. I didn't do a lot of the writing because I was too busy at the time with like Pirate Nations and the like.
Sure.
So Andreas Walters did the Emmy award-winning Baby Bestiary Volume 1 and 2. So that's the next thing.
Cool.
I'm working on a project, super secret project with Jim Pinto and Wendy Reichel called Veil of Isis, which should be coming soon, hopefully. And then two of my own projects that I'm working on are Old West, which is my my Magnificent Seven to World of Do's Seven Samurai.
Okay.
And then Animalia, which is my small furry animal role-playing game. So if you like Kung Fu Panda, Red Wall, Mouse Guard, that sort of thing, that's the game I'm working on.
Oh, very cool. We'll have to. We'll definitely have to.
Yep.
I know Sydney will definitely be into that as soon as she sees that that get listed. Now, Wendy, you mentioned Wendy. Wendy also has a micro setting in this campaign as well, right?
Mm-hmm. And Jim Pinto, yeah.
Yep. Very cool.
Yep.
She does.
John, what do you got going on?
I'm working on. I got a couple things in the oven at the moment. I'm working on a couple projects with Alan that I don't think I can mention right now, but they're going to be really cool when they do come out.
Go ahead.
You sure?
Go for it. Seriously, I don't care.
All right. One of the things that I'm working on with Alan is we were streamlining Pulsars, which is a role-playing game that I've been working on for a couple of years. Pulsars is a heroic sci-fi game that I've also been working. I've also been working on it with Ben and Ryan as well. But it's set in a far future where mankind experienced a golden age, but now the great enemy has burst into our reality and he has conquered most of the galaxy under his thumb. And the Pulsar Corps, which is this heroic group of heroes who are given these magnificent spacesuits that essentially grant them the capacity to take on a battleship and win, are now all that stands in between the enemy and him conquering the rest of the galaxy. And the game is more than just a game of like, four-color heroics. It's a game about coping with loss, coping with PTSD, as well as giving people who may not have the power that they have in the real world power to do something to affect change, essentially, in the game. And then also just working with Alan on Guardians of Forever, which is a really cool game that we've been working on for a while. It's based off of one of my old settings that we did. I think it was for Tiny Frontiers. It was the first one, yeah. And it's I'm just gonna be blunt. It's a He-Man-esque game, but that is where the similarity ends. Players take on the roles of the last of these heroes who have been tasked essentially with keeping peace in a world where multiple kingdoms stand alongside each other, where the kingdom of humans might stand next to a kingdom of dragonlings. And we've been working on this one for a while, and I'm really excited. Alan's vision has really helped with streamlining everything for it. And like I said earlier, when dealing with Alan's kind of like dealing with a fireball, where you could just pitch him an idea and he'll just like shoot it back. And sometimes he'll shoot back 3 ideas, and they'll all be equally good. But no, those 2 projects that I'm working on, I'm really excited just to show everyone.
Very cool. Very cool. Tobie, what you've got a pretty busy schedule from the sounds. What have you been working on?
Okay, which ones can I talk about?
So tomorrow, I'm gonna interject here and say this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spoil it early because I'm a jerk, and it'll embarrass Tobie, and I'm really happy to embarrass Tobie. Tomorrow, a press release will be coming out. Tobie has signed with Gallant Knight Games to distribute his games, and we'll serve as a publisher. We'll help fund and distribute his games for him.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he can focus on creating awesome games.
Tobie, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, so that. And in relation to that is a lot of rewriting for a 2nd edition of something. I'm not sure if I can give the details.
Say whatever you want, man.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't care.
It's preempting. Okay, so okay, fine. So we're officially working on a 2nd edition of A Single Moment. It's going to be a deluxe edition, and it's supposed to have a lot more content, a lot more rules, a lot more ideas. Alan's been helping me keep focused on the horizon because I get very easily distracted with a lot of stuff. But yeah, A Single Moment is about to have a 2nd edition. In addition to that, I've been working on Dream Scrapers, which is my love letter to Steven Universe. It's meant to be a kiddie RPG, but it's open for adults, and that's taking a backseat because A Single Moment has to come first. As well as the Super Spy Game Memory, which is my legacy spy game, which is a bit larger than expected, so that's going to be much more delayed than the others.
Okay.
Beyond that, I don't really have much I can concretely speak of.
Sure. You guys all have a lot on your plate, and it sounds like you guys are doing very, very well, which is awesome to hear.
Yeah,
we tend to keep busy.
Yeah, it's
hard not to.
Yeah. Well, when you're putting out good stuff, people just want more and more of it. So that's great. Alan, what else? What else can we add? I don't know what else. Where can we go from here?
Go back my Kickstarter.
Go back, yes. Go back. check out Tiny Dungeon down below in the comments. We're gonna do an actual play of Tiny Dungeon here in like 2 weeks, not next week, but the week after. Right? Is that what we're gonna?
Next week is Salt Lake Comic Con, and I'm at that. So.
Yep. So we're gonna try to do.
Yes, we're doing a live stream.
Okay. Yeah. So I've got some players that you've probably seen on the channel quite a bit. That we're really excited to do a Tiny Dungeon, just a live play, actual play while the campaign's going, to hopefully give folks a little more inspiration on getting behind the game, and we'll be announcing that here probably in another week or something, and I don't know, we'll figure it out. Alan and I still have to touch base as to what that's going to entail, but I'm really excited to. Yeah, it'll be a good time. We had a good time when we did Mecha Monsters, and this, now that I've got a good core of players that like to do this and come on, then I'm glad that we're going to have them come on later on in a couple weeks. Let's see. Where should folks follow you? Let's talk about where can folks find you online.
Yeah, so you can find me at Twitter at Alan Bahr or at Gallant Games. They won't let us put the full word in there. It's too long or something. It takes up too many characters on Twitter, I guess.
Sure.
But So, or you can find me at alanbahr.net or gallantknightgames.com. Or,
and Gallant Knight Games on Facebook.
Yep, Gallant Knight Games on Facebook. So you won't find me at Alan Bahr on Facebook. I keep my Facebook pretty private. So.
Yep. Nice.
But any of those are good. Feel free.
Very good. Ben, where can folks find you, sir?
You can find me on Facebook, where I don't keep it private. Ben Woerner on Facebook. Woerner's Wonderworks is also on Facebook.
Okay.
Where I talk about what I'm doing, working on. You can also find me on Twitter at Ben Woerner. The spelling of my last name is great because I can have all my own Facebook and Twitter things, and emails and whatnot. Yeah, so those are the main places you can find me.
Very cool. Very cool. John, how about you? Where can folks find you online?
You can find me on Facebook, where I am typically resharing your cat's photos or talking about how great your cat is. But also you can find me over on Twitter at JKMyth, where my Twitter is really more just my stream of thought platform, and
Sure.
Facebook is more where my granted I'll just retweet, like just the drop of a hat, but Facebook's more for like my careful, deliberate thought platform.
Yes. Okay.
As much as John is ever careful and deliberate about his thoughts.
Oh yeah.
Tobie, where can folks find you? What pages do you want to let people?
Well, Facebook. I'm also on Facebook, and like Ben, I have no shame on Facebook.
No shame on Facebook.
On Twitter, I'm all Tobie No Shade, which is it comes from all T No Shade. It's a gay thing, but yeah, I can be very vocal on Twitter, so pardon me if I might sound political sometimes.
No, that's all right. Hey.
But Tag Sessions is on Facebook. My partner's the one who manages it because I'm very horrible and
Well, you're a busy guy.
I'm terrified with dealing with people sometimes. So yeah, he helps me get through that.
Very nice. Let's see here. Michael Leavenworth says Mecha and Monsters playtest had me cracking up. Well, that's good. At least that was a good. Somebody got some enjoyment out of that session. I think it was pretty fun.
It definitely wasn't anybody who was at the session. Jeez.
What's that?
What?
Okay. Well, whatever.
What?
Yeah. All right. See how it is. So yeah, that's Alan. We're actually going to be We're going to be an hour.
We have streamlined our process. Also, we didn't get into movies or anything.
That's true. We didn't. We can get into. We can go off the rails if you really want.
Well, we still have to schedule our geek out about Star Trek.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I got to read that. I got to read that book. I've got so many other things. It's crazy.
Well, I have played it a ton, so I am prepped.
You guys have any of you guys played the new Star Trek Adventures game?
I made a character for a game that was supposed to start this next week, and then our game master got deployed overseas for 3 months. So we're gonna wait until the new year, until January, to play it, and I'm really sad.
Yeah.
I still want to. Sorry, go ahead.
What was that, Tobie?
I was choosing between Star Trek and Pendragon, but a certain video got me thinking of Pendragon more.
Oh,
when someone
yes.
was geeking out and someone showed up, and that pulled me on Pendragon.
Yeah, I don't know
anybody who does that.
I don't know anybody that comes onto YouTube and rants about Pendragon. I'm surprised that Pendragon hasn't ever actually been brought up in this session. I think this is a first.
Hey, it has.
From Alan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for Alan.
I mean, Alan hasn't mentioned it.
Maybe he's afraid of another guest
I have
appearance.
no comment.
Yeah.
But yeah, my group just started the Great Pendragon Saga, thanks to Alan, who's been helping me grasp the system and conquer that huge tome. So yeah.
Nice. John, what have you been playing?
Lately, I've been playing in a bi-weekly Dresden game.
Okay.
That we stream on Twitch over at the Polyhedral Crew.
Oh, okay. I'll check you guys out.
So yeah, it's been pretty cool. We do it every other Tuesday. So next Tuesday we'll be doing it.
Nice. Very cool. All right. Well, I guess I think that's all I got for my notes for tonight. Unless anybody wants to add anything else, you guys, I'm going to open the floor up. If you want to say anything or do anything, let me know. Now's your chance. Going once, going twice. Let's see here.
Oh, dang it!
I'm trying to see. Let's see.
How much time? How much time is the Kickstarter out left?
Yeah. How much?
Oh man, we have 3 weeks, 22 days.
Wow.
As of the time this was recorded.
As of this recording.
Recorded there in 22 days. It
Some people
will
like to watch
close
it.
on whatever the first Friday in October is. I think the 6th.
Nice.
So it should close on the 6th.
Now your Kicktrack says you're on pace for, I think it was like $114,000.
Wow.
Well, Kicktrack is wrong.
You don't think what do you think if you're gonna guess, if you guys want to take a guess as to what this thing is gonna end at?
Oh man, you're asking a former corporate data analyst to guess at numbers.
Let's all kind of like maybe we should make like a wager.
This hurts my heart a little bit. All right. Hang on, a wager. It's gonna be a prize. Okay.
$50,001, Bob.
I will go $50,001.10.
It has to be a round number, Alan.
All right, well, 2 because you can't pledge cents on Kickstarter anyway. I would say we'd get close to 50.
And that would be your highest funded projects to date, right?
Yes, Cold Shadows was 42 something ish.
Yeah.
So this would be near that.
Nice. That's,
I would guess that based on my experience with Kickstarter. But to be fair, I thought we would cap around 21 with this one. So my ability to accurately predict any sort of numbers around the funding level of this Kickstarter is suspect.
The one thing that I'd kind of want to know, and I don't think we'd ever be able to find out, is how many people kickstarted the first edition are also kickstarting the second edition. That would be kind of interesting to know.
Actually, you can find out.
Oh, you can?
Yeah. I have to go backer by backer through 700 backers and see what they backed, and I'm not going to do that.
Right? No.
But I could.
Yeah. Well, you don't get. I don't think you got some free time, Alan. So.
Yeah. Right. I'm not busy.
No, I'm sure.
No. Well, we have more backers in the first edition.
Yeah. Well, I assume that.
So.
Yeah.
It's going well. No, and Michael says it's because of the cover, and he's not wrong.
I will say that
compliments about the cover.
the cover is very, very good, and it really is impactful. It's you put it in the campaign why you were unable to do a video. So I think that art is a great substitute for not having a video. Like, I know most of the time, you want to have you want your pitch video, but I think had you not had that piece of art, it really wouldn't have drawn people in, as much.
No, yes, the art definitely captures the game and is an attention-grabbing piece of work.
I want to add this. I was
Sure.
randomly scrolling through Reddit the other day, and I just someone posted the art on Reddit as like and they even noted that it was for our Kickstarter, but it was on I think it was a subreddit
Art
called like
Fantasy.
Imaginary Characters or something.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, imaginary characters in our fantasy.
Yeah, an art fantasy, and people were it was getting tons of upvotes. People were really excited about it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great. Let's give a shout out to Michael for putting that together. Did he have? I know in some cases people have pieces of art in their portfolio already, and then folks just come in and purchase art.
So
How did that come
Michael's
along?
listening to this. Michael's listening to this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be totally honest and make him feel bad. He messaged me when we were working at Nocturnal, or he messaged Stuart, somebody, and I asked his price rate, and he told me his price, and I laughed and said, I will never have this dude. And then he emailed me again, and I'm like, this artist is super annoying. I'm never going to hire this guy. And I blocked his emails. And then Stuart's like, hey, we need an artist. And I'm like, oh, there's that one guy. So I went and found his emails and then hired him. And now we're friends.
Wow.
So now we've become friends, and it's super embarrassing. And he's never heard this story. So now he's laughing at me in the chat. He's never heard this story. I remember like, oh, this guy keeps emailing his art, and he's so expensive, I'll never use him. And then we ended up using him.
No, it's hey, it's great. I'm glad that.
And then became friends. So Michael,
Yeah.
I love you. I'm glad we're friends. I will never block your emails again.
Michael says he has no. I had no idea.
I will tell you this, Michael. We actually are having Michael do all of the future Tiny D6 covers.
Oh, very cool.
We're gonna kind of go exclusive with them, with a notable one or two exceptions.
Nice.
But yeah, so you'll see a lot more of Michael.
Good deal. Good deal. That's awesome. Congratulations, Michael. That's great. All right. So I guess that's like I said a few minutes ago. I guess that's gonna do it for us tonight. I want to thank Alan and Ben and John and Tobie for coming on. I know you all have busy schedules. I know you have other things.
I have to go to work.
Yeah. Tobie has to go to work, unfortunately. We all have
fajitas waiting for me.
What's that?
You were saying, Ben?
Oh, I said I have fajitas waiting for me.
Oh yeah, don't make me keep eating from fajitas. That's absolutely.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my boss for letting me go out today.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you. Thank them for us as well. But yeah, no, I really appreciate it. I know we all have busy lives. We all have families. We all have. So for you guys to come on and just take a few minutes and chat with me, I really, really appreciate it. By all means, if you have any projects going forward, please let me know. I'll be glad to spread word about anything you guys get going on. I love everything you guys do, and if Alan, Alan, I know picks very, very good people to work with, and so I wish you all very much success in the days and months and years to come.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
all right, guys, that's going to do it for me. My name is Doug. This has been Victory Condition Gaming, because winning shouldn't be the only victory condition when you get to the table. Go to the Tiny Dungeon Kickstarter now and pledge right now. We'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.
See ya.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, man.
No problem. Thanks for coming on, John. Tobie, sorry you have to go back to work.
Okay.
I have to go feed a cat, so.
Oh, nice.
Doug, thank you so much.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yo, no, anytime, you guys. Like I said, if you guys have any projects at all, please let me know. I'm more than happy. I don't have a huge, reach.
Hey,
but
I netted more backers during this live stream than I ever have with one with you.
have you really?
I have a little tracker that I watch,
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
and it's the biggest uptick I got today, so it paid off.
Good. I'm glad. I hope what I do for anybody is worthwhile, and so it's when you guys can see results, it's definitely it makes it worthwhile. Oh, now I get a little bit of an echo.
That's me. I popped this out. So.
Oh, okay.
All right. I got to go because I got to feed my cat.
All right, John.
So,
Thanks for joining us.
No, it was a blast. Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
Anytime.
See you guys.
Thanks for having me.
See you, Tobie. Yeah, no, it's good. I think
Good.
it's hard to incorporate that many people into. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do it. I knew, getting them to talk about their micro settings and everything. I wanted to make sure that everybody felt it was worthwhile for them to come on. I hope that they felt it was okay. I always when after the fact, I always think, I hope. What could I have done better? I guess that's how I always look at things. But
You did great.
all right, well, I'm glad you saw an uptick.
Yeah, me too. It's always nice.
Hopefully we can do a little bit of an actual play in a couple.
Yes.
And
Yes. Erin is out of town that week,
okay,
so for her new job, so I should be pretty available.
that's cool.
So.
Is this new job something that she is excited
Yeah,
about?
very much so.
Good. Good. You guys have to move far?
We're just moving like an hour and a half north,
Oh, okay.
so it's not awful. It's just like so we're like 30 minutes south of Salt Lake City, and we're moving like an hour north of Salt Lake City.
Okay.
And so we're in the same area. Like I'm not gonna. I actually have a bunch of my main game group is actually up there. I drive up there every week anyway.
Oh, wow.
So it's actually closer for me to my game group.
Oh, nice.
So
Cool.
it's not a problem at all.
Very good. Very good.
We need to schedule our Star Trek one too.
Yeah, we do. We do. I still have to read that book. I've got that to read. Trying to think of when we should do that. Oh, have you? Speaking of things I got to do, what I know I've asked you before. PAX Unplugged.
I have plane ticket is not purchased, but you have our badges, right?
I do. Yeah, I ordered those like a month and a half ago, I think.
Okay, cool. As long as you have a badge, I will go buy a plane ticket.
Okay. Yeah, I still have to.
We're just with the move and everything. I'm hoping it'll go cheaper so I can save some money in the middle of the move.
Yeah, that's what I'm. I haven't bought
if it's,
mine either. I need to buy a plane ticket as well. I don't want to drive that 9 hours. That doesn't appeal to me at all.
No, so I will. You tell me. Yeah, I'll buy mine. So it's just the weekend. I mean, we're not selling anything, so I'll bring a couple games we can play or something. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just nice. I'm looking forward to just kind of making some contacts and networking and.
Yep, that's what Gen Con was. I mean, I didn't even go into the dealer hall for 2 days. So.
No, that's a bummer.
Hey, we're still live, buddy.
Oh, we are, aren't we? All right.